Hello, and welcome to another episode of Stories from the Set. My name's Jesus. I'm your personal Jesus and host of this podcast. Or is it a web? No, it's a podcast. I'm pretty sure it's a podcast. Before I get started with my today's guest, Tracy Dennison, she's an artist. I want to do a little housekeeping. I recently had, well, not even my, recently had a loss in the family. It's been very difficult 2 weeks. We kind of knew it was coming, but that doesn't make it any easier. So I'm trying to get out of my funk by doing this. So let's get it going. So my guest this week, and it's going to be a different type of format, about 30 minutes. I'm not going to go into... we're going to get to know my guest, Tracy. She's an artist, but she is really not in the 21st century. Seriously. She doesn't have a cell phone. At least I don't think she... No, she only has a house phone, and the house phone is rotary dial. So just to let you know that. Tracy is a fabulous Art Deco artist. She wrote a fantastic book about a leprechaun and the Loch Ness monster. And she's like, you know, if you walk into Tracy's living room, you're going to step into another century. You know, there's pictures adorning all her walls of all these beautiful pieces of artwork that she's done over the years. She's got the women and the Hollywood and the Night Out in New York and just various other ones. Chinatown, Los Angeles back in the day. Just so many animals. Children's books. So instead of like doing one big old huge long interview, I'm going to break this up into several interviews. So, without further ado, please welcome my guest, artist, children's book writer, novelist, I guess, and illustrator. There's just so many things I can't even think of. Car enthusiast, Tracy Dennison.
Well, thank you, Miss Dennison, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Welcome to the Miracle Mile.
Well, I'm an LA boy, so I've passed by the Miracle Mile quite a few times in my life. Do you know why it's called the Miracle Mile?
I think it is a Chamber of Commerce phrase to increase business because it's supposed to be a mile, but it's really 2 miles.
Yeah, but supposedly, the reason why it was called the Miracle Mile was because during the Depression, no store in that patch ever went out of business.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
There used to be an airfield at the block up there at Crescent Heights.
Oh, yeah?
A small airfield.
Wow.
I know. LA history.
LA history. So, Ms. Dennison, or shall I call you Tracy?
Please call me Tracy.
Tracy. Why don't we tell everybody why you've come on to this podcast?
Well, I've been painting for my whole life, and I've created a lot of art, and fortunately I showed it to you, and you expressed an interest in having me talk about it, which is great for me because, you know, I've loved to paint. I've gone through various cycles. I started painting when I was 11 years old.
Well, wow, 11 years old. What was your first painting?
Well, it was a paint by number set.
Okay.
And it was a gift to me from an aunt. And the minute I started using, I said, oh, I see how this works. It just all made sense to me. And it was so much fun and creative, so I just kept it up.
How many of those did you do before you decided to take a forage off on your own without the numbers?
I was 11. You think I remember?
I don't know.
But I went to I painted in high school.
Uh-huh.
I took art classes, and I went to college and took art classes. So, and I really started painting seriously, I guess, when I left college.
Okay.
And I started the Art Deco series.
And where did you go to college, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I went to Stevens College for Women at the time. It was founded in 1832, and it's in Columbia, Missouri, right next to the university. And, you know, it was a finishing school, basically, in the 60s when I went there. It was, you know, very progressive, really, in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah? Were all you ladies out there burning your bras at the time?
No, I was never a hippie. I was always, never, ever. Not even close.
Not even close, huh?
Excuse me. But anyway, I at that time I was a freshman, and I had an art teacher named Mr. Green. And one day he said, "Come with me, Tracy." So we started walking around the campus, and he said to me, "You know, I really like your art." And he said, "I don't want you to imitate any other artist or your teachers. Just stay true to yourself." And I said, "Okay, Mr. Green, I will." And I have.
Okay, so we're currently in your apartment here in Los Angeles.
Which is now an historic, cultural historic building. As of last week.
All thanks to you,
Yes.
no doubt. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you to the building.
I know it was a long, hard road to hoe.
Yes, it was. It was worth it.
But just being in your apartment, I'm not going to lie to you, seems to be like all I needed was a tuxedo and I would be in one of your paintings.
True.
And we have several of your artworks surrounding us in this living room, which, just by the way, I don't think I've been surrounded by so many Tiffany lamps in my life. But could you please, just like as we go around the room, as I point to these paintings, could you please describe them? Of course, I'm going to show images on the screen, but this elegant painting of a ballroom, what inspired
Midnight in Manhattan.
Midnight in Manhattan.
My mom was a nightclub singer in New York up until the start of World War II. And actually, she's in that painting in the background as a singer, yes.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, thank you. And that's, that's the Chrysler building in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a odd painting in a way to start, because I was in San Francisco at the Sheraton Grand, and it has this room with this fabulous ceiling like that one, which is lit from above. And I thought, gee, I want to paint that ceiling, but I want it to be in a New York scene. So I made up that ballroom scene, put the Chrysler building in the background, and voila. Midnight in Manhattan.
Midnight in Manhattan.
It only took about a year to paint.
But so this ballroom does not exist anywhere but in San Francisco.
Right.
Okay.
Only the ceiling.
Only the ceiling. Okay.
Hope it's still there.
Have you been to the Carriage House in San Francisco? It's a restaurant where the ceiling, they have a stained glass ceiling, and the restaurant is where they used to bring the carriages into the hotel that it's at.
No, that's before the 30s, so not my time frame. But
not your time.
Sounds wonderful.
But it's gorgeous.
I bet. I'm
you
sorry
just
I
mentioned-
haven't seen it.
You just mentioned San Francisco, so I was like,
Yeah.
I thought I'd throw my in. But you're right. It's totally off topic. Stay on target. Okay. So we're coming over here, and then we seem to have another, what to me looks like a Central Park
It is.
image.
Actually, you're right. Now that is called Lullaby of Manhattan. It's one of my favorites. Just the interplay with the couple. It's just so tender, and I love music, and as I said, my mom was a nightclub singer, so I like to put an element of music in a lot of my paintings. And you see there the white piano,
Right.
and in that Midnight in Manhattan, everybody's dancing. And so that is looking across the reservoir, I think that building might be the Majestic. I forget.
The Twin Towers, yeah.
Yeah, but all the interior is Deco by Dennison.
What's Deco by Dennison?
Me.
Oh. Okay. I was like...
I should have been an architect.
No, that is Deco by Dennison. I know, and you know it's so funny that these Art Deco paintings. That's one of my favorite architectural and times. I guess they call it the Golden Age or the Roaring 20s.
I call it the golden era of romance. Yes.
And it's just so elegant and just. I mean, you even enjoy driving cars from that time.
I did. I had a 1936 Auburn Boattail Speedster. But I don't want to lie to you, it was a replica.
Oh,
it was spectacular. And when I would drive it down Wilshire, people would pull over. I felt like the queen. And then they'd follow me. And it didn't have any windows, so people could talk to me. Fortunately, I'm a friendly person. So I'd have a lot of conversations on my car with strangers.
Oh, yeah.
It was very cute.
And did you have any other favorite cars?
Oh my God. Well, this painting has a 1927 Hudson, and that is from Indiana. And I don't know if you know that Indiana had a lot of spectacular cars that were built there.
Oh, really? I had
Not
no
only
idea.
the Auburn, but the Cord, which is a gorgeous car, and the Duesenberg. So I like anything car-wise, basically, from the beginning until... Well, I guess through the 70s at least.
Right.
A lot of great cars.
Excuse me. She Who Shall Not Be Named, which is the person I'm currently dating. She's not allowed to be named.
Oh.
on any form of
Secret on the Miracle Mile.
Yeah. Her favorite was the Jaguar from Harold and Maude. You know, the one they took and the 1963.
I owned one.
Oh, did you really?
Mark II. It was the most fun to drive.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the different. With the Auburn, it had such a long front end and 4 pipes on each side.
Yeah.
It was amazing to drive. But with the 63 Jag, it had this big steering wheel. And it was just a completely different experience. And you know what I did to that car?
What?
When I bought it, the interior wood was old. It hadn't been touched for 35 years or something.
Right.
So I wanted to spruce it up. Being an artist, I go over to Kuntz Hardware. And I walked in and I said to this guy, I have this... 63 Jag, and I want to do something to the wood to fix it up. Do you have any ideas? And he said, you just came to the exact right person. He said, I restore old boats. And he said, come here. And he showed me everything. He gave me a recipe that he wrote down for me. So I redid all the interior wood on that Jag by myself.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And, the dashboard, I put plastic over the kitchen, and I sprayed it and did it about 15 times. Finally, I couldn't keep the car any longer because 2 guys came here from England, and they bought up all the Jaguar parts for that car.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah. So, it was a Jag, so it needed to be fixed once in a while.
Right.
And
once in a while.
So I thought, oh God, well, I just didn't want this car to be my life. So I put it up for sale. And I'm telling you, everybody that came over here to look at that car, I'd open the door and they'd scream, oh my God, the wood, I love the wood. That was the only car I ever sold for a profit because I did the wood. But I missed that car, it was fun.
Yeah?
It smelled
would
good.
You buy another one?
A replica, maybe.
Well, what would be the next car you'd want to own? Like you'd be like to cruise down Sunset Boulevard on, or
Gee, I don't know. I just saw a 65 Chevy around the corner. I went for a walk.
Yeah.
Restored turquoise. Oh my God, it was beautiful. But I really, my heart belongs to the 20s and 30s cars. There is one I don't adore, really, from that era.
Wow.
And over there, you see a 1930 Cadillac that I painted.
Is that the one in the kitchen?
No, that's the one in the dining room.
I mean, that's what I meant. The dining
Yeah.
room. That's the one that's at the airport, right?
Yes, the original LAX was called Elysian Fields, and it was a series of bell towers and hangars. And so I painted a...
It's. I look at that. It's just such a gorgeous. Is that at dusk or dawn?
Dawn Flight is the
Dawn
name.
Flight.
And I lived in the Hollywood Hills, and I woke up one morning to that spectacular sunrise, and I took a photo of it.
Oh, really?
And I thought, I'm going to make a painting around this beautiful sky, and that's what
Great
happened.
painting.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I'm telling you, Tracy, that you and I are like kindred spirits, you know, because I just think of that era. I love it. Art Deco. Why did they ever get rid of it?
Because time moves on, and you know it's not easy to maintain the degree of elegance that people did in that era. I guess I don't know. You know, Jesus. To me, we live in a slob society. It's not my thing, which
Right.
is obvious, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the way it has gone down, really. And to me, all the cars these days look alike.
Oh yeah.
I don't see anything that...
Nothing. I know they do. They all like. When I first the car that I have right now, I think I had it like a couple days. And I go to come out of the store and I go to like turn my key in. I'm like, why is my key not working?
Wrong car.
Wrong car, different model, different make. And I'm just like, oh, no wonder it didn't work.
Yeah, I could never make that mistake in my Auburn.
No, I guess not, huh?
Yeah, it was quite the attention getter, that's for sure. I would, you know, if LA wasn't such a weird place, I might try it again. But I work at home, and I'm not driving that much these days, so.
Right.
But still, every time I open the garage door, oh, my heart would beat fast. That car was just, that's my girlfriend, my boyfriend, it was everything.
I'm noticing over your shoulders you have 3 ladies behind you.
Yeah.
And one of them seems to be hiding her face. Can you explain these?
Oh,
3
that's
lovely
my
ladies?
mom.
Oh, that's your mom hiding
And the
her face.
reason she's not really hiding her face, my mom was such a character, but when she wore a hat, she'd have it cocked kind of over
okay.
on one side.
Yeah.
She was a lady with personality, you know, and she smoked. So this lady has a cigarette. So that's just a tribute. I call it Lil, even though she liked to be called Taff. Her maiden name was McTaff.
McTaff.
Or the Scottish way would probably be McTafe. 2 A's, 2 F's.
And
the other one, the blonde lady, I named after a friend named Diana. And when I first met her, she had dark brown hair. But as the years went by, funnily enough, it got lighter and lighter and lighter. And then she became platinum for a brief period. So I said, I'm going to name a painting after you. And that's how Diana came about.
It's very elegant. You've got a profile of her over her shoulder as she's getting ready to sip some champagne. And what I love about it is that the strap of her dress are these 3 roses connected by, leaves on each end.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely.
Thank
and
you.
The earrings are and the little barrette in her hair, that bit of sparkle, the makeup. It's also detailed. Your paintings are very, very detailed. Like I look at this, there are hundreds of little squares that you have depicting these buildings at night.
You know, Jesus, most of my life I was very nearsighted.
Mm-hmm.
So doing this work was not a problem for me. You know, I just felt great being almost nose to nose with these paintings.
Right.
And I paint with very fine brushes. They're sable brushes, and they're very expensive. And
You don't have any squirrel tail brushes?
I don't know, they might, but they're not going to get you this stuff. And so, that's why the detail, I think, really. And the Deco Ladies, I started doing that. And the Deco Ladies, I started doing that series because it was so difficult to do these others, and I needed a break in between. And because I've always been obsessed with painting, my secret is out. And so I had to do something else, and that's when I came up with the Deco Ladies. And they were a lot of fun to do. And I did about 20 of them, and then I was finished with that series.
And who's this lovely auburn-haired woman?
I don't know who she is. She's just a stranger that's hanging on my wall. But I've always drawn my whole life.
Right.
So, she was just one of my doodles, actually, that I ended up as a painting.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So you don't know where you got that face from or anything, because it's, that's what I find. What I like about some of your paintings, sometimes they have the same couple.
Yes.
Or and then, like, I know that there's another one of this blonde woman upstairs, I think in a different profile, right?
Mm-hmm. That's Cynthia. This is Diana. So they're a little, different, but...
Different, but I like how you have the 20 ladies, I guess you would call them. 20 Art Deco ladies.
Deco Ladies, I call them.
Deco ladies.
Yeah.
And what are stuff? And looking in your
My dining
room over there, you have a beautiful painting of the Pantages Theater.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that taken from a photo, or did you do that from memory?
Actually, I went over to the Pantages and took some photos of it. And the car in front is a, I forget what that car is right this second. Really spectacular car. I've painted it a few times. Not a Pierce Arrow. It'll come to me later. And it's funny because that painting was on the cover of a magazine called The Arts in Hollywood or something. And they, excuse me, and they had contacted me and asked me if I would do a painting about Hollywood, which happens to be my hometown, by the way. I was baptized at Church of the Blessed Sacrament on Sunset next to Crossroads, where this magazine was published. And, so I said, I'd love to do the Pantages. So I happened to go into the Pantages to the office, and I told them about my plan, and they got mad. They didn't want anybody who wasn't, I guess, authorized. So, yes, that's an unauthorized painting of the Pantages. I don't know why they were so protective of it. And then I made up I don't know if there was ever a Way Out West movie starring Laurel and Hardy, but that's the title I put on the marquee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A fictitious movie, huh?
Yes. Well, actually, I did that twice. The other painting on the other side of the wall is of the Wiltern. And the image on screen is Laurel and Hardy. And it's a scene I just made up where a lady is kissing Oliver. Oh. But the interior, I met a guy named Wayne Rakovich. And I just happened to love to go charging around LA looking at old buildings. So I happened to meet him twice. And the second time was at the Wiltern. And I said, I really want to put this theater into a painting. And so we walked around, and he told me how he had saved that building. He said he found out that they were demolishing it, and he walked in just as they were taking out the light fixtures, and he told the workmen to turn around and put them back, and he bought the building, and he saved it, and if he hadn't saved it, we wouldn't have that wonderful theater.
Wow, really?
Yes. And so there, so I made up the movie scene. It's a pretty good interior of the theater, but there is a kind of grill there that would have been too complicated to paint. So there was a little artistic license there, but that's the Wiltern.
Well, it's art. It's not a photo. Right?
And then I did another painting of the theater in Palm Springs called the Plaza Theater.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. You haven't seen that one because it's in the back there.
I'm like, I don't even think I've ever heard or seen that theater.
Yeah, last I heard it was still there. And people like Donald O'Connor would play there.
One of the favorite pieces of art that I see as I'm looking around is that you have these light boxes of some of your artwork. One seems to be outside a hotel, and at least the ones I could see, you got one outside a hotel or an apartment building, and another one
That's
inside.
this painting right here, Jesus.
Oh.
That other one is this one, the 9 o'clock club.
These are so much brighter.
Yes, I know. I know. It's funny, my own paintings can't really compete with the light boxes if they're in this. But anyway,
don't get me wrong. Your paintings at night, but these just like pop.
Yes, and I was trying to be an entrepreneur, and I thought this would be a great idea many years ago when I would have my paintings photographed and they were in slides, and I thought, wouldn't these be great if I could light them from behind? And really, these light boxes are like giant slides. Mm-hmm. They're a gel. And they worked out great. And so I had about 6 of them made up and spent several $1,000s on it. But then, I'm not a business person, and I couldn't figure out what would be the next step. So the next step was that they're in my living room for 10 or 20 years, waiting for somebody to discover me and them.
Well, you got one tiny little light box on the table over there, and I believe that has to do with your book that you've done.
Yes, that's Shaun the Leprechaun and the Loch Ness Monster, and that's Nessie pouring tea in her little cave home for Shaun and his friend Freddie the Frog.
Freddie the Frog. And what made you delve into the world of children's books?
Well, I needed another project, and I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a kid's book? So I asked my mom, who had been writing songs for years, if she could come up with an idea. Mm-hmm. So Shaun the Leprechaun is her creation, really.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it a song that she sang?
No, nothing like that. No.
She just said, why don't you just do Shaun the Leprechaun?
Well, she wrote a long poem, and I illustrated it. And then after she passed away in 94, well, what happened was I made it, the drawings were pen and ink. And it turned out that there wasn't a publisher on the planet that wanted a pen and ink children's book.
Right.
So then when my mom passed away in 94, I decided to turn the pen and ink drawings into full-blown paintings, art, oil paintings, full color.
Because that's the medium you work in, oil, right?
Oh, yeah. But I draw all the time. That's in pencil. And I used to do a lot of pen and ink things.
So
busy artist. Kept my left hand very busy. and my right brain.
And your right brain. And you published that book, but obviously the publisher didn't promote it, so you're looking to, get that going as well, right?
Boy, I'll tell you, that's one of the mysteries of my life because, I have a friend named Jose Fernandez, and he is the Batman costume designer.
Right.
And he saw my book. I showed it to Jose and his wife, Ji Young, and they loved it. And Jose said to me, I will take all the paintings to my studio and photograph them for you and put the text there. So wonderful, what a gift. So he did that, and when I was looking for a publisher, I finally got this one in Texas, and they didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was take Jose's work and put it in a book, and they did a terrible job.
Oh, yeah.
They came up with a very cheap book, and the pictures looked faded, and it was very disappointing. But even more disappointing was their lack of promotion of the book. They did absolutely nothing that I know about. So I was happy when my contract ended, but I didn't make a nickel on that book. And
you don't even know if there were any sales, do you?
yeah, I think I made $30 in revenue from that. I spent more buying copies of the books than I ever made in royalties.
Right.
So, that was a tough one.
Yeah. Well,
But it's ready to be republished.
it's ready to be republished. That's fantastic. So we'll have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, you do have a way for people to get prints of these paintings, right?
Yes.
Where
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Where can they find your artwork at online?
They can Google Fine Art America, go to the Fine Art America site, and put...
That's fineartamerica.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine Art America. And put my name in, Tracy Dennison, Tracy Dennison with 2 N's, in their search engine there. And I have 4 galleries there. My Art Deco paintings, my Hollywood series, my ties. I did a bunch of ties, like 1940s ties.
Right.
And they're a hoot. And in my wildlife series. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 galleries on there. Mm-hmm. And you can order, it's cute. You can order prints, you can order cards, you can order cell phone covers. They will put the image on a bunch of different products, something I could never do.
T-shirts?
Including T-shirts,
Including T-shirts, okay. Mm-hmm. So they'll be able to check out all your artwork, and they'll be able to say, I would love a T-shirt of that.
Yeah, that's right. They can choose any image, and they're very good about following up and sending the order out and sending me a check. Yeah.
Which is the most important part.
Well, it's important, that's for sure. You like to know that you're being appreciated by the people who are essentially your publishers. Don't forget my wildlife series and my ties.
Yeah.
They're entertaining.
Of course. And we'll find out all about those different genres that you've taken apart, because you do have the party animal tie. Is that the party animal, right?
He is a fun character that I created during the financial crisis because everybody was so sad. And I thought, oh, everybody is so sad. I'm going to find a way to make them happy. And I went on a walk, and this whole thing came to me. That's how I get my best ideas. I just go out for a walk with basically nothing on my mind, and then all these ideas just flow to me. And that's how I created the party animal. And I came home and started drawing him. And he's a very happy-go-lucky
can you get
rabbit.
The party animal ties at American Fine Art?
Well, you can. I don't know if they. Nobody has ordered a tie from there or a T-shirt, as far as I know. No, they haven't.
Okay.
But people don't really know about me on there. I had my own website, but now I'm on there because it's a great display place. So I need to have people go there and visit me.
Right, and I'm sure we'll probably be able to get you a website up in the near future. And
Good.
We'll also be able to find you on Instagram, and you'll have a Facebook page and all this stuff. And with every episode, we'll learn a little bit more about you, and hopefully we can make you one of the most iconic painters ever to live.
Sounds pretty good. Excellent. Thank you. It was fun.
Why not shoot for the moon, and if we even get halfway, right?
That's right. We're in the Miracle Mile. Anything's possible.
Exactly. All right, Tracy, it was nice talking to you, and I'll see you again.
Okay,
soon.
Jesus.
All
Same
right.
here.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that wraps it up for another episode of Stories from the Set. I hope you enjoyed this introductory podcast series with Tracy. Hope you got to know a little bit about her and who she is. And while you're at it, why don't you go to fineartamerica.com, where you can take a look at Tracy's paintings and all her different collections, and even, I believe, purchase a few items. So give it a look, check it out. Thank you once again for taking the time to listen. I hope the shorter format in this series will appease my brother in his complaint about how long everything is. If I could leave you with any bit of information that I've learned over my entire life, fail. Fail hard, fail often, so you can fail better. I don't like that. So you can succeed. Because it takes a lot of hard work to get to success. Don't succeed at doing nothing. That is a real failure. I must break you. So that was my Avadraga. All right. Good night. Good luck. Cheers.